Happy July the 4th, everybody, and welcome back to Kaulig Nation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, AJ Allmendinger, SVG, and more. I'm riding solo today. That's what I get. I'm Canadian. Ryan's American. Means he's out with the family, enjoying a day off. It's been interesting switching over to doing this content full-time, and there's a lot going on right now. We want to dive headfirst into a article by Bob Pockras, which really plays on a lot of things for the future. If you've seen the thumbnail for the video, lots of people on it, lots of possibilities. We're going to dive into all of them right now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn notifications to all to keep up to date with all of our content here. Trackhouse Racing, Bob says. Ross Chastain signed through next year, as is Daniel Suarez. I know Suarez is a guy people love to put on the hot seat. Well, he's won a race this year, and he's won 2 of the last 3 years, and he brings sponsorship. So he's not going anywhere. Trackhouse likely acquired the charter from Stewart Haas Racing, has 2 drivers under contract that could be a possibility. One is Shane Van Gisbergen, our boy SVG. The other is Zane Smith, who we're really high on, and we had predicted last year could end up in a Kaulig car. Obviously, that did not come to pass, unfortunately. The Spire Trackhouse relationship is kind of deteriorated, and that's not something that's going to be continuing. So Bob goes on to say, Trackhouse has 2 drivers under contract, Zane and SVG. Could be Zane Smith in the car, given he has some sponsor commitments, but SVG has sponsors lining up at the door for him. The more likely scenario is SVG to the Trackhouse Cup car and Smith either looking for a ride while under contract or loaned to another team like he is this year. So if Kaulig has a chance to just outright go out and acquire Zane Smith and him be their guy going forward, I think that's something that you have to pursue. He has all the talent in the world. The transition from truck to cup has not been a smooth one. He has underperformed quite a bit this year. And that's one of the reasons why making that step to Xfinity can be important. SVG, Bob points out here, he could end up in another season of Xfinity. And I know people will fight over, the cars not being the same and the cup car being more like the V8 supercar. But at the end of the day here, it's not just about learning the car. It's about learning the tracks. And, it takes time. It would be more beneficial if SVG was 10 years younger, but he's not. So you got to sort of speed it up a little bit. Bob makes it pretty clear, though, SVG is likely going to be in that 3rd Trackhouse car. And why not? You're going to have 6 road courses more than likely next year, 6 bullets in the chamber. Get the process going on learning the ovals in the cup car. He has a few this year with Kaulig Racing. There is the possibility he ends up in one of the Kaulig cars too. Getting out of contractual obligations is not an easy thing to do. And Justin Marks isn't your typical cat either. So whether SVG is in a Trackhouse Cup car or a Kaulig Cup car, we'll see. But they do raise the possibility that he could stay in Xfinity. I think the safe money, though, is, and probably much to the delight of SVG fans, he's likely going to end up at a Trackhouse Cup car next year. That doesn't mean our content coverage on him will disappear. We love SVG. We're going to follow him regardless. Harrison Burton out of a ride in the 21 Wood Brothers car. He brings Dex Imaging as a sponsor. To me, I look at Harrison as a prime time Xfinity candidate. If he can go down there and sponsor an Xfinity car for basically the full season, be a huge win for Kaulig. That being said, he's still probably worth a gamble in the Cup Series, but I'm not going to him first. He's down my list. He does bring sponsor support, though. That's important. Right here, Bob mentions about Kaulig Racing with multiple drivers. This would be open to a driver who can bring enough sponsorship to anchor the car, but never rule out an AJ Allmendinger return to Cup, as well if Kaulig can find the dollars. Now, AJ wasn't supposed to run as much in the Cup Series this year as he has. He was still going to run a lot, but they've added, upwards of a half a dozen races, if not more, to AJ's schedule. AJ was talking about that a few weeks ago. They clearly pivoted because when AJ's in the car, he's far and away better than everybody else that's been in the 16 car. It's just a fact. Bob goes on to state, this is a real intriguing one. This organization and Christian Eckes have flirted with each other previously, so it's likely there will at least be some talks if he continues to run well in trucks. The problem with Christian Eckes is he doesn't bring a lot of his own sponsorship, if any. I'd have to look into that more. But he's a a good young prospect. Some might argue right there with where Chandler Smith was. They need a guy like that. They have none. They have nobody, as Ryan and I talked about in a video that's going to come out later this week. Now, I don't know if I like the idea of him going straight to Cup. We've seen with Zane Smith how much the struggle is there. I am interested in possibly bringing Zane Smith over in the Cup car. But if you really need a blue chip prospect to help build your team around, because keep in mind, AJ Allmendinger is 41 years old. He is signed through the 2027 season, possibly even 2028. He's getting up there. He's really your only bright spot because SVG is not yours. It'd be great if he became theirs, but that's not going to happen. If putting Christian Eckes in a Cup car is the difference between making and breaking a deal with him, it might be something to consider. They go on, or Bob goes on to say Daniel Hemrick is not signed for this season. Daniel Hemrick's a great family guy, fun guy to listen to, but it is time to move on. It has not worked. They've been able to sneak themselves into some decent 20 to 23rd place finishes. But he just does not get as much out of the car as a guy like AJ Allmendinger does. Frankly, it's not even close. So if you're choosing between AJ and Hemrick, once again, this time you don't make the same mistake twice. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I do think there's a world that has AJ Allmendinger and SVG in Kaulig Cup cars next year. Again, contractual obligations are hard to break, and Trackhouse might not be able to move off of Zane Smith yet. They might not want to either. I still think SVG is going to Trackhouse, though. Zane Smith is an option for that car. Christian Eckes is an option for one of those cars. Hell, both of them. If you get them both in the organization, that'd be great. Harrison Burton down in Xfinity. It's time to start adding to the pool of talent behind the wheel and in the race shop. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be a destination location, then it's time to start building. You cannot just be focused on sponsorship dollars. Like, obviously, they're great, and you need them because the cost of running cars in either series is just ungodly expensive. But you got to make progress. Ryan Preece is available. He brings United Rentals. That could be an option as well. Whether, it ends up happening or not, that remains to be seen. My Hail Mary options, Noah Gragson, because he brings sponsorship as well. I think he's had a way better year this year than I ever could have predicted him having. I think if you can bring in a guy like Gragson, man, imagine you make the splash and you bring in Gragson and Childress. That would be insane. That would get people talking. It's pie in the sky. It's unlikely. But out of the names that I mentioned here, whether it's SVG on loan in Xfinity or Cup, Allmendinger, who I think is the most likely and your best option in terms of talent right now, or do you accept another lone driver like Zane Smith, or do you go out and do you purchase some of your own guys, a Christian Eckes, a Ryan Preece, a Harrison Burton, guys that bring in sponsorship money that you need, and they do need it, but you can't just focus on that and sacrifice talent. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think. Chicago's this weekend. I'm excited. We have a video coming tomorrow, a video coming Saturday morning. Enjoy the weekend. Happy holidays. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Twitter @Kaulig Nation. Take it easy, everyone.